Welcome back to A Year of Final Fantasy, and today we have our penultimate episode. We're going to be delving into Square's online service known as PlayOnline, which I briefly talked about in the Final Fantasy IX video. Disclaimer here, I'm sure you don't want to watch the PlayOnline operating system. This is just a way of getting into Final Fantasy XI. Really, it was supposed to be for more, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So I'm just gonna basically give you some random Final Fantasy cutscenes or something to enjoy, because why not, right? So anyway, on to the main show here. Not technically a game. This was PlayOnline. It was an incredibly important service that Square and later Square Enix envisioned for their online endeavors in many ways. Of course, the most notable aspects of PlayOnline is that it was the service used to launch Final Fantasy XI, the first MMO of the series, but it extended to so much more than that, or at least they wanted it to extend to so much more than that. During Square's Millennium event in early 2000, they announced they were working on Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy X, and Final Fantasy XI simultaneously, covering both the classic franchises and Final Fantasy IX, the kind of high fantasy stuff, then looking forward to the future with Final Fantasy X, giving us more of a, like Final Fantasy 7, 8 kind of feel. And then we had the surprising step, throwing their hat in the blooming MMO that's massively multiplayer online space with Final Fantasy XI. Along with this announcement, we have the vision of PlayOnline, the one-stop shop for all things Final Fantasy and their other series. So the vision was set, and PlayOnline was the future of the company, taking full advantage of technology, stepping into this coming internet age that's blooming more and more. And in fact, PlayOnline was set to host any future online games. They were going to provide a chat with instant messaging, email. They were going to host online comics, function as an internet browser for only Square-related sites. I'm not sure if they wanted to go full internet browser, but their goal here was just on the Square stuff. And you could shop for merchandise and do all of this crazy stuff. It's a very lofty goal, very huge vision. And yeah, if you know anything about PlayOnline, you kind of know where it eventually ended up. But regardless, Square teamed up with the Japanese telecom company known as NTT Communications to develop this software, and initially it was intended to be a paid service itself, not necessarily for Final Fantasy XI, but to get all of these different features, the chat and everything else like that. So in the States, that technically happened, but the truth is that basically this was only paid for Final Fantasy XI, as it was the flagship of the service, and many other people that played the other game, Tetramaster, which was the card game from Final Fantasy IX, that never really took off, and in fact it was modeled in such a way that people took huge advantage of it, and it got shut down eventually. So not a very good start there. But it should be noted though that this was intended to transform the PlayStation 2 into a sort of TV top box, maybe like a Roku, or so. Along with that, it was supposed to be software working on your PC, which obviously is what most people know of it as today. And even at one point they intended to have a portable version of PlayOnline for the WonderSwan Color via an adapter that you could hook up to the internet at the time, and that obviously never came to fruition, at least that I know of, but it was definitely ambitious, that's for sure. I guess this is as good as time as any to note that PlayOnline didn't really wow much of the Western audience on initial reveal, and in fact a lot of people downright hated it, as Final Fantasy IX was right around the corner after this announcement and set to release that summer. This announcement was in January of 2000. The point of contention was the infamous Final Fantasy IX strategy guide that I briefly mentioned in the Final Fantasy IX episode. Quick catch up here is that guide was basically almost just a magazine, essentially, and it required players to use this PlayOnline service, which at the time was just a website, to really take advantage of everything that the Final Fantasy IX strategy guide held. And that, let's just say, it made people very angry, to use very kind words. In effect, the guide was basically just a gateway to looking up PlayOnline stuff, and it wasn't a guide at all, really. I mean, it was very vague in many places, and it was terrible. I'll say it was terrible. All right. So in short, despite it being a strategy guide, it had a terrible first impression of this PlayOnline service. And I still have my guide, and I look at it every time to time, and it's bad. Like, it's just bad, guys. It's not a good guide, but it's definitely an important part of Final Fantasy history for this very reason. So anyway, as PlayOnline started to be developed, games intended to use the service was of course Final Fantasy XI, at that time termed just Final Fantasy Online, which honestly is exactly what it should have been named. It's no secret that I do not enjoy the fact that this is actually part of one of the main series of the franchise games. Not that I don't like Final Fantasy XI, we'll talk about that next time, but honestly it should not have been a numbered game in my opinion, but hey, that's just me. And Final Fantasy XII was also developed to be a game using this PlayOnline service. I'm not sure exactly what they were going to do with it, because it was a single player game, but that clearly never panned out. And that was really the first inkling of this PlayOnline thing not really coming to their full vision. PlayOnline was another platform for another game that we never got in the West, but I did have another one, and that was Front Mission Online, and it just, like I said, never did see the light of day over here in the West as far as I know. I haven't done much more research into that. I don't know if it's a good game or bad game or whatever, but it did come out in Japan, and yeah, that's a thing that you know now. So honestly, there's not a lot more to say about it. Of course, many of their dreams for the software never came to fruition. Things such as the WonderSwan color adapter and most of the other superfluous features as well just fell by the wayside, sadly. Most people agree, myself included, that PlayOnline service was essentially just an annoying barrier for playing Final Fantasy XI. And I completely still hold on to that thought. It was unneeded. I do admire their vision, I'll give them that. I assume this whole program was created PlayStation 2 in mind, which never had a true operating system to send, receive email, all of that stuff, like all computers have basically. So I'm assuming that's their main intention of creating this weird OS for the PlayStation and all the other stuff, even though PC still, fundamentally operate on their own operating system. So as Final Fantasy XI kept on chugging throughout the years, the system basically just declined down into nothing. It was, like I said, just a portal for Final Fantasy XI. And whenever Final Fantasy XIV was announced, the next MMO in the franchise, they said that it would not use PlayOnline, and that was the moment, in my opinion, that the whole thing basically died. To be clear though, if you want to play Final Fantasy XI right now, you can, and you're going to have to go through PlayOnline, but otherwise, that is the sole function of this program. All of the dreams of grandeur are dead, essentially, which is kind of sad to say. But you know what? I'm going to say one positive thing. I'll end it on this. It had really, really cool music. Give it props for that. And yeah, that's about it for PlayOnline. So let me know what you think of PlayOnline. Pretty much, again, like I said, universally, everyone hated it. But if you're that one person that really enjoyed it, I'd love to hear why you liked it. Probably because of the music, right? But otherwise, let me know. Yeah, just what your experiences were for PlayOnline. Otherwise, next time we're going to go ahead and roll out the carpet for the first massively multiplayer online game, and that of course is Final Fantasy XI. So as always, until next time, Crystal Warriors, keep on gaming.